Hi everybody, this is part 3 of the story of my stillbirth. I will link parts 1 and 2 in the iCards, and I will link them also in the description. In this part I'm talking about the week following our loss and the steps we had to do. So where I left off was we were discharged the next day from the hospital, but in that day we had to sign all the paperwork. There's death certificates you have to sign, you have to contact funeral homes, decide if you want autopsies or not. We did decide to do an autopsy just to make sure, to see what was the reason we lost him. We still don't really know. We think that it was just the diagnosis of Down syndrome. They say they don't think that the amniocentesis I did is in any relation to it. We will never know that. So we had to sign those paperwork, and then we were discharged. Bobby stayed with me he still wasn't living with me yet, so for the weeks following he had stayed with me. I think about a week, or maybe more. It might have been 2 weeks that he stayed with me. I spent most of the time in bed crying. I didn't eat. I tried to just sleep and couldn't. Every time I would fall asleep I would wake up with this panic that he wasn't there anymore. The same panic I had when I knew I lost him. So within that week what we had to do was we had to wait for our pathology report to come back. Then we had to contact the funeral home. We had to meet with the funeral home and pick out our little baby urns and what we wanted to do and pay for that. So the first week it is kind of a blur. I don't really remember much as far as, other than I felt very alone and uncontent with the fact that he wasn't with me anymore. I was really sad. I was not sleeping or eating, like I said. And a week later, it was Wednesday, the following Wednesday, we had to go and meet with the funeral home. So we did that. We picked out the urn that we wanted. My dad paid for it, which I'm so thankful for. He paid for the cremation and the urn, because we did decide with cremation. And then we had to go to the hospital and pick up the pathology report, and the feeling of walking back into that hospital was just dreadful. I didn't want to see it again. I didn't want to go back, and this was the first time I'd left the house since it happened, and there really wasn't much to it. We went through that. I went home and I would sleep and I would cry, and this is completely normal. Bobby did, after the first week we lost him, he took a week off of work, and then the following week he went back. He was okay with that. Everybody grieves differently. He wanted to get back into his routine, and that is okay. I wanted to lay in bed and cry, and that's what I did for most of it. I just cried. And I would go to my mom and we would have conversations, and I would just talk about it. I just kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, what I could have done differently, how upset I was. That was my way of coping. Everybody does cope and grieve differently. I think it was about a few days after that, maybe a week after that, we went and we picked up his ashes, and I brought him home. And that's my story. That's not where my story ends, but that is where I finally got out of the house. I think it was 10 days after I finally went out to Bobby's dad was part of a chili and chowder competition, and I went to that, and it was good for me, and that is where we started going up from there and trying to cope with it. Like I said, I still cope with it. If you've been through loss, you understand that it's something that doesn't just go away. It doesn't ever end. You have to learn to live with it. I had to learn to find a new normal, and that was my new normal. I wanted nothing more than to have another baby, but I was not prepared to do that again. I was not prepared to go through that again. I was too afraid to. And when I get into my birth story of my daughter, I will talk about that and how I ended up pregnant only 3 months after I had lost Mason. We lost him in February. I got pregnant in May. And I will talk about finding out I'm pregnant with her and how terrifying that is, but that's a whole other video on its own. How I want to end this video is, if you're going through this, if you have just lost your baby, whether it was an early miscarriage or a stillbirth at any point in the pregnancy, I understand it. I feel it. I feel the pain you go through. You will be okay. You will make it through it. It does take time, and I know nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants it just to go away, because I remember saying I just wanted to stop hurting. It gets easier. Day by day, you build something. You build yourself from that. You learn from it. You live with it. But you will be okay. And whether you go on to have more children or you don't, whether you want more children or you don't, this is something you will be able to move on, and you will be okay. And I wish that I had somebody to stare into a camera and tell me, you will be okay. And I'm glad that I waited this long to film this video and not do it right after it happened, because a lot of the videos I see of people who do their stillbirth story, it is right after it happened and they are still really grieving it. I am at the point in my life where I'm content and I'm okay. Of course, I wish he was still here with me. I wish I got to raise my baby boy. I wish so much that I did get that opportunity. But I came to terms with what had happened, and I know that you will too. It takes time, and that's okay. I'm sorry that if you're watching this because you went through this, and I'm sorry for your loss. And I wish that I could bring back every baby that anyone has ever lost, because it's something that we should never go through. It is something we should never feel. But that's all I can do is wish. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or you got something from it, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does help. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the notification bell to get updates for every time I upload a video. Please comment in the comments below. Let me know your story. Let me know if you've been through this and how you cope with it. And if you've just been through it, start a conversation, because I can guarantee you that the people in these comments will care. I care. And we will get through this. We'll all get through it together. Thank you.